On a busy Monday morning at St. Mary's Hospital, the atmosphere is a mix of urgency and routine. Nurses rush between patient rooms, doctors exchange hurried instructions, and the waiting room hums with quiet tension. Amid the activity, Karen, the hospital manager, strides purposefully through the halls. Karen, in her early 40s, is known for her no-nonsense attitude and rigid demeanor. Her sharp suit and clipboard are as much a part of her identity as her short temper. She has built a reputation for keeping everything in order, though some view her as more of a tyrant than a leader. Karen's day takes an unexpected turn when she notices a man entering through the hospital's main doors. He's wearing a red MAGA hat, a plain gray t-shirt and jeans. His casual appearance stands out among the suited staff and patients dressed in their best. This man is none other than Elon Musk, but in his unassuming attire, he goes unnoticed by most. Karen, however, spots him immediately and is instantly on high alert. But before we dive into the story, don't forget to subscribe and share where you're watching from in the comments section. Your support will help us bring more meaningful stories. From Karen's perspective, this man looks like trouble. She watches him walk toward the reception desk, his hat boldly displaying the slogan that Karen despises. To her, this is not just a hat. It's a symbol of disruption, and she's determined not to let it cause any chaos in her hospital. Without hesitation, Karen marches over, clipboard in hand, her heels clicking sharply against the floor. Elon greets her with a polite nod, but Karen's expression remains icy. "Excuse me," she says, her tone curt and authoritative. "Can I help you with something?" Elon, ever calm and polite, replies, "I'm here for a reason, but I'd rather not make a scene. I just need to take a quick look around." Karen's eyebrows shoot up. "Take a look around? This is a hospital, not a tourist attraction," she snaps. "We don't allow political statements here, and frankly, your hat is making people uncomfortable." Elon glances around and notices a few curious stares, but no signs of discomfort. Still, he remains composed. "I'm not here to make a political statement," he explains. "I promise I won't be in anyone's way." Karen is having none of it. "Listen," she says, her voice rising just enough to turn a few heads. "I don't know who you think you are, but you need to leave. Now." Elon's calm demeanor begins to unsettle her. He doesn't argue or raise his voice. Instead, he gives her a measured look and replies, "I'm not here to cause trouble. But if you feel that strongly, I'll go. Just remember, appearances can be deceiving." Karen scoffs, crossing her arms. "I'll take my chances," she retorts. "Security will show you the way out." Elon gives her a faint smile and leaves without another word, escorted by 2 security guards who were summoned by Karen. As he walks out, he glances back at the hospital, his expression thoughtful. Meanwhile, Karen returns to her rounds, feeling smug about how she handled the situation. Little does she know her world is about to change dramatically. The camera lingers on the hospital entrance as Elon disappears into the distance, setting the stage for what promises to be a shocking and heartwarming turn of events. The next day at St. Mary's Hospital begins just like any other, with Karen already patrolling the halls by 8 a.m. sharp. Her clipboard is filled with the day's tasks, which she's already mentally reorganized to suit her meticulous style. She wears her usual no-nonsense expression, scanning the corridors for anything that might disrupt the hospital's carefully maintained order. As Karen barks instructions to a nurse about a misfiled report, a commotion at the reception desk catches her attention. A small crowd of nurses and patients seem to be whispering and pointing discreetly toward the entrance. Frowning, Karen strides over to investigate, heels clicking on the polished floor. Her heart sinks the moment she sees him, the same man from the day before. The red MAGA hat, the casual shirt, the calm demeanor. It's all exactly as she remembers. Karen's face tightens. "Not again," she thinks. "Excuse me, sir," she says, her voice sharp enough to cut through the chatter. The crowd disperses at her tone, leaving Elon standing alone. He looks at her with a polite but unreadable expression, clearly unfazed by her hostility. "You again?" Karen says, crossing her arms. "Didn't we make it clear yesterday that you're not welcome here?" I'm not going to let you disrupt this hospital with whatever it is you're trying to prove. Elon offers her a faint smile and responds in his calm tone. I'm not here to disrupt anything. I simply have business to take care of. Business? Karen repeats, her voice dripping with skepticism. What kind of business could you possibly have in a hospital like this? Because unless you're here as a patient, visitor, or employee, you have no business being here. Elon tilts his head slightly, as though considering how much to say. I'm not here to waste anyone's time, I assure you. But I have every right to be here. Karen feels her temper rise. This man's calm, almost amused demeanor grates on her nerves. Who does he think he is, waltzing in here like he owns the place? Let me be perfectly clear, she says, stepping closer. If you don't leave right now, I'll have security escort you out again. By now, a few staff members are watching from nearby, their faces a mix of curiosity and discomfort. Some recognize the man and exchange nervous glances, but none dare speak up. Karen's authority is well known, and crossing her is something most employees avoid. Elon sighs softly, his patience seemingly unshaken. You seem very determined to have me removed, he says, his voice quiet yet firm. But let me ask you this. Are you absolutely certain you're making the right call? Karen scoffs, her cheeks flushing with indignation. Yes, I am. Now leave, or I'll make sure you regret staying. Elon nods slowly, as if accepting her decision, though his calm expression doesn't falter. Very well, he says. But remember, you've judged me without knowing who I am or why I'm here. Sometimes appearances can be deceiving. Karen waves her hand dismissively and calls for security, who approach cautiously, clearly uneasy. Elon allows himself to be escorted out without resistance, leaving Karen standing triumphantly at the entrance. As he disappears through the doors, a hush falls over the room, and one of the younger nurses whispers to another, "That's him." Karen hears the murmur but ignores it, chalking it up to meaningless gossip. She's far too pleased with herself to care. To her, the situation is resolved, until tomorrow brings a far greater surprise than she could ever imagine. The following day, Karen begins her morning confident that the previous drama with the mysterious MAGA hat man is behind her. She takes her usual spot at the front desk, scanning her clipboard with hawk-like precision, ready to keep her hospital running smoothly. Little does she know, the calm won't last long. Just before noon, a black SUV pulls up to the hospital entrance. The glossy vehicle stands out against the sea of patient drop-offs, turning heads as it comes to a smooth stop. A suited driver steps out and opens the passenger door. Out steps Elon Musk, still wearing the now infamous red MAGA hat but looking slightly more formal in a tailored blazer. His unshaken confidence radiates as he strides toward the entrance. Karen spots him immediately. Her jaw tightens, and her grip on the clipboard stiffens. Not again, she mutters under her breath. She storms toward the entrance, her heels clicking louder with each step. Elon enters the hospital, glancing around calmly as though nothing unusual is happening. Karen wastes no time intercepting him. "You again," she says loudly, drawing the attention of nearby staff and patients. "What is it going to take to keep you out of here? Do I need to get a restraining order?" The growing crowd senses the tension. Whispers ripple through the hallway as some staff recognize Elon but are too shocked to speak. Karen, oblivious to the murmurs, presses on. "This is a professional facility, not some playground for your political stunts," she snaps. "Your hat and attitude are not welcome here." Elon raises an eyebrow, his calm demeanor unbroken. "I'm sorry if my presence offends you," he says evenly. "But I have every right to be here." Karen laughs sarcastically, her voice echoing. "But oh really, and what right would that be? You don't work here, you're not a patient, you're just loitering." Security. The guards from the previous day appear, looking visibly uncomfortable. Karen turns to them, pointing dramatically at Elon. "Escort this man out of my hospital again, and this time make sure he doesn't come back." The guards glance at each other nervously. One of them hesitates before saying, "Ma'am, are you sure? I think there's been a mistake." Karen cuts him off with a glare. "No mistakes. Do your job. The guards reluctantly approach Elon, who doesn't resist as they gently guide him toward the exit. As he walks away, he turns back to Karen and says with a faint smile, "You're very determined." "I'll remember that." Karen scoffs and waves him off. She turns to face the staff and patients, some of whom are clearly shocked or disapproving. "All right, back to work everyone," she says briskly, as though nothing out of the ordinary has happened. As Elon leaves the hospital, a nurse leans toward her colleague and whispers, "She really doesn't know." "Does she?" "Know what?" The colleague replies. "That's Elon Musk," the nurse says, "the new owner of the hospital." The colleague gasps, her eyes darting toward Karen, who is still standing at the entrance, basking in her perceived victory. Meanwhile, Elon steps into his SUV, his expression calm but with a glint of determination in his eyes. This isn't over, he thinks to himself as the vehicle pulls away. Inside, Karen remains blissfully unaware of the storm that's about to come. Her overconfidence will soon be met with a dose of reality she never saw coming. The morning after the second ejection, Karen arrives at St. Mary's Hospital feeling invincible. The events of the past 2 days have only strengthened her belief that she's the one maintaining order in the hospital. She struts into her office, ready to tackle another day, but she notices something strange. A hushed buzz seems to ripple through the staff. People are whispering in corners, exchanging nervous glances, and unusually quiet when she walks past. Karen narrows her eyes but dismisses it as unimportant. Probably gossiping about some trivial nonsense, she thinks. She grabs her coffee and settles into her desk, reviewing the day's agenda. However, before she can make it through the first page of her notes, the phone rings. "Karen speaking," she says curtly. "MMS Karen," the receptionist stammers on the other end. "There's, someone here to see you." Karen frowns. "Who?" "It's Mr. Musk," the receptionist says nervously. "I mean, the man you asked security to escort out yesterday. He's in the conference room." Karen's grip tightens on the phone. "What? Why would he? Never mind. I'll handle it." She slams the phone down, muttering, "This guy just doesn't quit." She storms out of her office, marching toward the conference room with her trademark determination. As Karen approaches, she notices something unusual. The conference room, typically reserved for high-level meetings, has been cleared of its usual occupants. Instead, several key figures in the hospital's administration are seated inside, looking tense and uncertain. At the head of the table stands Elon Musk, his red MAGA hat conspicuously absent, but his calm confidence unmistakable. Beside him is the hospital's chief financial officer, Mr. Andrews, who avoids making eye contact with Karen as she enters. "Can someone explain to me what's going on?" Here Karen demands, glaring at everyone in the room. "And why is he here again?" Mr. Andrews clears his throat awkwardly. "Miss Karen, please take a seat. I'll stand." "Thank you," she snaps, turning to Elon. "Why are you here? I thought I made it clear you're not welcome." Elon glances at Mr. Andrews, who nods uneasily. Then Elon speaks, his voice calm but firm. "Miss Karen, I think it's time we clear up some misunderstandings." Karen crosses her arms, her annoyance growing. "Oh really? And what misunderstandings would those be?" Elon steps forward, looking her directly in the eye. "You see, Miss Karen, I'm not just some random visitor causing trouble. I'm here because, as of last week, I'm the majority shareholder of St. Mary's Hospital. In simpler terms, I'm your boss." The room falls silent. Karen's confident expression falters as she processes his words. Her mouth opens slightly as if to speak, but no sound comes out. She glances at Mr. Andrews, who nods gravely, confirming Elon's statement. "No, that's impossible," Karen says, her voice shaking slightly. "Why would someone like you?" "Because I believe in improving institutions like this," Elon replies calmly. "And frankly, I think St. Mary's could use some changes, starting with how it treats people. Employees, patients, and visitors." Karen's cheeks flush red as she feels the weight of everyone's eyes on her. I didn't know," she stammers. "That much is clear," Elon says, his tone sharp but measured. "But ignorance doesn't excuse behavior. You've made some serious judgments over the past few days. Now it's time to address them. Karen's heart pounds as Elon's words sink in. For the first time, she realizes she might have made a grave mistake, and that this is only the beginning of her reckoning. The tension in the hospital is palpable. The next morning, word has spread fast, and the staff can't stop whispering about the bombshell revelation. Elon Musk, is now the owner of St. Mary's. While many of the employees are excited, some are nervous about what this means for their jobs. But no one is more unsettled than Karen. Sitting in her office, Karen nervously taps her pen against the desk. She hasn't slept much since the humiliating reveal in the conference room. She keeps replaying Elon's words in her head. You've made some serious judgments. Now it's time to address them. The uncertainty gnaws at her. Just as she begins her daily agenda, a soft knock interrupts her thoughts. She stiffens, expecting it to be another admin with bad news. Come in, she says tersely. The door opens, and her heart nearly stops. There he is, Elon Musk, standing calmly in the doorway, a faint smile on his face. This time, he's dressed sharply in a tailored suit, with no MAGA hat in sight. Good morning, Miss Karen, Elon says, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. Karen jumps to her feet, her voice shaky but polite. Mr. Musk, I wasn't expecting you. Well, I thought it was about time we had a proper conversation, Elon replies, closing the door behind him. After all, we've gotten off to a less-than-ideal start. Karen swallows hard, her hands clenching the edge of her desk. I'd like to apologize for the misunderstanding, Mr. Musk. I didn't know who you were, and I may have overreacted. Elon raises an eyebrow. Overreacted? He takes a seat across from her without waiting for her to offer. You mean the part where you humiliated me in front of your staff? Or the part where you had security physically remove me? Twice. Karen flinches, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. I'm sorry, truly. It wasn't personal. Wasn't personal? Elon repeats, leaning forward slightly. His calm tone carries an edge that makes Karen's palms sweat. Tell me, Miss Karen, would you have treated me the same way if I weren't wearing that hat? Karen's eyes dart away, but she doesn't answer. I thought so, Elon says after a pause, sitting back in his chair. You made a snap judgment about me because of what I was wearing. And in doing so, you disrespected not just me, but the values this hospital should stand for: fairness, professionalism, and compassion. Karen nods quickly, desperate to appease him. You're absolutely right, Mr. Musk. It won't happen again. Elon studies her for a moment, his gaze unwavering. Then he surprises her by smiling. I hope not, Miss Karen, because while I believe in holding people accountable, I also believe in second chances. Karen blinks, unsure if she heard him correctly. Second chances? Yes, Elon says, standing up. I'm not here to punish you, Miss Karen. I'm here to improve this hospital. And that includes the people running it. But you'll need to prove that you can lead with the kind of integrity and respect this place deserves. Karen exhales slowly, relief washing over her. I won't let you down, Mr. Musk. Promise. Elon nods but doesn't soften entirely. Good. But promises mean nothing without action. I'll be watching closely. Before Karen can respond, Elon heads for the door, pausing just before he leaves. Oh, and Miss Karen? Yes. Let's make sure the next time I visit, it's under better circumstances. He flashes a faint smile and exits, leaving Karen standing in her office, stunned but determined. As Elon walks down the hallway, staff members quickly step aside, their eyes wide with curiosity and respect. He stops to speak with a nurse, asking her questions about patient care and the hospital's challenges. The staff is surprised by his genuine interest and humility, and many feel hopeful about the changes he might bring. Karen watches from her office window, realizing that this is no ordinary CEO. If she wants to keep her position, she'll have to rise to the challenge. And fast. Karen finds herself in uncharted waters. Elon's words linger in her mind. Promises mean nothing without action. Determined to redeem herself, she decides to confront the truth about her leadership style. For years, she had prided herself on maintaining order and discipline, but now she realizes her approach lacked compassion and understanding. If she is going to keep her job and her dignity, she needs to change. The first test comes sooner than expected. Elon has scheduled a meeting with the department heads to discuss the hospital's future. Karen knows this isn't just a routine meeting. It's a chance for her to prove she can adapt. She spends hours preparing, studying financial reports, patient surveys, and staff evaluations. But she knows data alone won't impress Elon. He wants to see the human side of her leadership. The meeting begins in the hospital's largest conference room. Elon is seated at the head of the table, his calm demeanor radiating authority. The department heads shuffle in nervously, unsure of what to expect. Karen takes her seat, clutching her notes tightly. "Thank you all for coming," Elon begins. "Before we dive into the details, I want to make one thing clear. This hospital's success depends on how well we work together. Leadership isn't about giving orders. It's about serving others and creating an environment where everyone can thrive." Karen shifts uncomfortably in her seat, feeling the weight of his words. Elon continues, "Now, let's start with a simple question. What's the biggest challenge facing this hospital?" The room falls silent. No one wants to speak up, fearing they might say the wrong thing. Finally, a young nurse manager raises her hand. "I think morale is a big issue," she says hesitantly. "A lot of staff feel overworked and underappreciated." Elon nods. "Thank you for your honesty. And what do you think would help improve morale?" The nurse manager glances at Karen, then back at Elon. "Well, better communication from leadership would be a good start. Sometimes we feel like our concerns aren't being heard." Karen's cheeks flush as the nurse's words hit home. She realizes that her authoritarian style has created a barrier between her and her staff. Elon turns to Karen. "Miss Karen, as the hospital manager, what's your perspective on this?" Karen takes a deep breath, deciding it's time to own up to her mistakes. "I think she's right," Karen admits. "I've been so focused on maintaining efficiency that I've neglected to listen to my team. That's something I need to work on." The room seems to relax slightly, impressed by Karen's humility. Elon gives her an approving nod. Acknowledging the problem is the first step. Now let's discuss solutions. For the rest of the meeting, Elon leads a collaborative discussion, encouraging everyone to share their ideas. Karen takes notes not just on the logistics but on the way Elon interacts with the team. He listens intently, validates their concerns, and offers constructive feedback. It's a masterclass in leadership, and Karen finds herself inspired. By the end of the meeting, the atmosphere in the room has shifted. The staff feels heard and valued, and Karen feels a renewed sense of purpose. As the meeting wraps up, Elon approaches her. "You did well today," he says. "Leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about learning and growing. Keep that in mind." Karen nods, a small smile forming on her lips. "Thank you, Mr. Musk. I'll do my best." "Good," Elon replies, walking away. "Because this hospital needs leaders who care as much about people as they do about results." For the first time in years, Karen feels hopeful, not just for the hospital's future but for her own growth as a leader. Karen spends the next several weeks transforming her approach to leadership. Inspired by Elon's example, she decides to step out of her office and directly engage with the hospital staff. She begins her mornings with rounds, greeting nurses, doctors, janitors, and even cafeteria workers. At first, her presence surprises everyone. Most are used to only seeing Karen when something has gone wrong. But as the days pass, her efforts begin to feel genuine. One morning, Karen notices a nurse struggling to assist a patient in the ER. Without hesitation, she steps in to help, steadying the patient's forearm and assisting them to a wheelchair. The nurse looks at her, shocked. "Miss Karen?" she asks, blinking in disbelief. Karen smiles. "Just Karen is fine. Let me know if you need anything else." Moments like these slowly rebuild the trust she had lost. Word spreads quickly, and for the first time in years, the staff begin to see Karen in a new light. Not as a cold manager, but as someone willing to roll up her sleeves and be part of the team. Karen also begins hosting weekly listening sessions, where staff can openly share their concerns and ideas. During one of these sessions, a janitor speaks up about a broken cleaning machine that has been ignored for months. "I've reported it 3 times, but nothing's been done," he says, frustration evident in his voice. Karen immediately takes out her phone and makes a call. Within 24 hours, the machine is repaired, and the janitor thanks her personally. "I didn't think anyone cared," he says. "I do," Karen replies sincerely. Meanwhile, Karen starts focusing on patient care as well. She organizes a town hall for patients and their families to share their experiences. A mother tearfully recounts how a nurse went above and beyond to comfort her son during a difficult procedure. Karen ensures the nurse receives recognition during a staff meeting, a move that earns her a standing ovation from the team. Karen's newfound commitment doesn't go unnoticed by Elon. During one of his visits, he observes her working side by side with a nurse in the pediatric ward. Later, he pulls her aside. "You're doing good work," he says. Karen smiles but shakes her head. "I still have a lot to make up for." Elon chuckles. "We all do, but what matters is that you're showing up every day and proving you're willing to change. That's the kind of leadership this hospital needs." Karen's confidence grows as she realizes the power of humility and action. She begins tackling long-standing issues within the hospital, from streamlining schedules to ensure staff aren't overworked to launching a mentorship program for young nurses. One afternoon, during a meeting with department heads, Karen presents a bold new initiative, a scholarship fund for low-income students pursuing careers in healthcare. "We need to invest in the future of medicine," Karen explains. "This isn't just about running a hospital. It's about changing lives." The room erupts in applause, and Elon nods approvingly from his seat. As Karen walks out of the meeting, she feels a weight lift off her shoulders. She knows she's far from perfect, but for the first time in years, she feels like she's truly making a difference. Later that day, as she passes a nurse in the hallway, the nurse stops her and says, "You've changed, Karen. We're lucky to have you." Karen smiles, her eyes misty. "No," she replies. "I'm lucky to have all of you." In that moment, Karen finally understands what it means to lead, not through fear or authority, but through empathy, service, and a genuine desire to uplift those around her. Her redemption is no longer just a hope, it's a reality. Weeks pass, and the hospital feels like a different place. The atmosphere is lighter, the staff are more energized, and patients notice the positive shift. The changes Karen implemented, both big and small, have begun to ripple through every corner of the hospital. Employees who once dreaded coming to work now feel a renewed sense of purpose. Elon decides to host a celebration for the hospital staff, honoring their hard work and resilience. The cafeteria is transformed into a festive gathering space, complete with decorations, catered food, and live music performed by a local band. Staff and their families attend, enjoying a rare chance to relax and bond outside of work. During the event, Elon takes the stage, dressed in a casual jacket and jeans. He looks at ease yet commanding. "When I first walked into this hospital," he begins, "I saw potential. I saw people who cared deeply about their patients and their colleagues but who felt stuck in a system that didn't support them. Change isn't easy, but this team proved that it's possible when we work together." The crowd cheers, and Elon gestures for silence. "Tonight, I want to recognize someone who embodies what this hospital stands for: compassion, growth, and leadership. Karen, please join me on stage." Karen freezes for a moment, stunned, but the staff erupts into applause, urging her forward. She walks to the stage, her heart pounding. Elon smiles and hands her the microphone. "I don't know what to say," Karen begins, her voice trembling slightly. "When Mr. Musk arrived, I thought he was just here to shake things up and leave. But he did more than that. He taught me what it truly means to lead, and while I still have a lot to learn, I want to thank each and every one of you for giving me the chance to change. This isn't just my hospital. It's our hospital." The crowd rises to its feet, cheering. Tears well in Karen's eyes as she steps back from the microphone. Elon pats her on the shoulder, whispering, "You've earned this." As the night winds down, Karen finds herself standing beside Elon, watching the staff laugh and mingle. She turns to him and says, "I never thought I'd say this, but thank you for everything." Elon chuckles. "Thank yourself, Karen. I just gave you the opportunity, you did the rest." The next day, the hospital begins a new chapter. The walls that once echoed with tension and frustration now feel alive with hope and determination. Karen continues to lead with empathy, working tirelessly to ensure the hospital remains a beacon of care and innovation. The story ends with Karen visiting a young patient in the pediatric ward, reading them a story and promising to bring them their favorite snacks. As she walks out of the room, she feels lighter than she has in years. She finally understands that leadership isn't about control, it's about service. And so, the hospital flourishes under its new ethos, proving that change, though difficult, is worth the effort. This story is a reminder of the power of humility, empathy, and second chances. Have you ever been given the opportunity to change or help transform someone else's life? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your stories of growth and redemption.